Hey everyone, welcome back to Valorem Visions episode 2, where we're going to be talking with our associate partner from Valorem Modern Work, Margaret Hahn. Welcome to the show.
Thanks, Andrew. Thrilled to be here.
Awesome. So why don't you give us a little snippet on what Valorem Modern Work is, what you guys do, and then we'll dive into a little fun activity as we do with all our guests, and then dive into the core content.
Yeah, awesome. So here at Valorem Modern Work, we're a Microsoft first technical consultancy. We really help organizations get the most out of their investment in Microsoft, whether that's figuring out what to do with Copilot licenses, how to even think about investing in Copilot and AI, and then other foundational tools and technologies, thinking about the overall employee experience, whether that's an intranet, whether it's a simple Power app that folks use every single day, whether it's Teams meetings, Teams adoption, etc. So essentially anything and everything when it comes to Microsoft and tools and technologies and the employee experience. Like we like to say modern work or AI workforce. That's really what we focus on. We have a team of technical consultants and AI strategists. We also have a team of adoption change management consultants. I think that's one of our big differentiators, that we would never build something, throw it over the wall and say, go do it, good luck. We really want to make sure that we're a one-stop shop consultancy and support partner, and we help take people along on the journey of transformation.
I love that. I love that. And so today we're going to be talking about AI leadership, and what it means to be AI first, right? And so what we like to do with all of our guests is have a fun little whiteboard session where we'll give you a minute to kind of introduce your topic. Gives you that chance to kind of finger draw and whiteboard the best you can. And it'll be a great intro into what we're going to be talking today. So why don't we hop over into the whiteboard and we'll give you a minute to kind of introduce the topic and see your whiteboard mouse drawing skills.
Awesome. I love it. All right. So thinking about AI, right? So we have AI. Everyone here, look at this, just
Ooh,
amazing.
good start. Good start.
Good
Good start.
start. So AI, right? This thing is really, it's on fire. Everyone's saying, gosh, we need it. We need it. We need it. But what does it mean? Most people don't really know what it means. And so as we're thinking about being an AI first organization, we can take all our different apps that we have, app one, another app over here. And right now, a lot of organizations are just saying, great, got it. So we're going to put AI on top of this, and we're going to put AI over here. We might sprinkle AI a little bit here. Boom. So great. Now we're an AI first organization. We have AI everywhere. But no, you are not thinking about it correctly. This isn't what we want to do. Really, what we want to do is we want to stop, take a beat, and think about first, what is our AI vision? What does AI mean to us? What is it for? So, what is our AI vision? What are we thinking about? And then taking that and framing that up into getting out of that AI enabled trap. We want to break out of just sprinkling AI in everywhere and really think about a focused strategy and thinking about essentially how our users are going to use it. And then foundationally to all of that is enabling the people who are actually going to be using AI. So thinking about foundationally the people there, and then what that means for them across how they work every day, and making sure that it's infused across the organization in a thoughtful and strategic way. So
I
thought
love that.
leadership, strategy, and then you go forward. Now, organizations probably can't do that by themselves. And that's where they need to work with organizations like Valorem Modern Work and Reply to really think through what AI means for them and get them going on the right path. And so you're not just sprinkling AI across, you really have a thoughtful strategy and you're redefining how you're working instead of just saying we have AI here, 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 and here.
I love that. Your whiteboard skills are, I can tell you've led some workshops. It was quick, it was fast. I love it. No, I appreciate that, Margaret. Let's dive into, as you kind of set the framework for what the AI first kind of confusion is, let's dive into that. Like, what's the trend? What's the vision that you're seeing in there? Everyone is, AI is the new buzzword bingo. Everybody is, yes, we're AI, we're AI, we're AI. So, what does it actually mean to be AI first? How does an organization think that way? To kind of give our viewers a glimpse into maybe reframing their thoughts around how they're implementing AI and what they're doing with it.
Yeah, awesome. So, like I said earlier, I feel like there was a moment maybe last year where boards and people in the business world out there heard the term AI and they said, hey, we got to have that. So, we're going to say we're an AI first company. I'm going to have a board meeting. We're going to say you have to use AI. Great, go do it. But where I think there was a gap was really enabling and empowering leaders, especially C-suite leaders, and then a level down at the manager level to really understand what AI means and what it
Sure.
means to be an AI first organization. So essentially what it means is it really means embedding AI as a core strategy into operations, culture, how you do things, making AI the default lens for solving problems, driving innovation, and so on. And that it can't just be a single add-on. So where I think organizations are making some missteps is saying, great, so we have this tool, we have this tool, we have this tool. All of those tools are now selling AI. So let's just buy licenses to that and say, great, we're
Yeah.
an AI first organization. And
Yeah.
so we really have to take a step back and look at where AI or artificial intelligence can be kind of a foundational layer around strategy, operations, and the customer experience, and thinking about taking the time and investing the time, the resources, the thought leadership into thinking about how you work and stripping that down into what's your North Star? What problem are you trying to solve? And then how do we do that through the lens of AI? And I really feel like you can't just flip a switch and say, great, we're good to go. It's really
Yeah.
a process and you have to take people along for the ride.
Yeah, it's interesting as we talk through organizations, right? I think so many people are trying to stay on the curve of it what it is and saying, okay, we're going to go buy a whole bunch of licenses and now we're an AI company, right? And really that as you kind of talked about in your drawing is it is more about bringing those people along to actually utilize it effectively and how do we think about it because I think some of where we end up is you start just wasting money on AI as opposed to using it effectively. And not only that, I think a lot of companies, and I would love your opinion on this, is they're trying to think about this big $1 million win that's going to get them all the revenues and margins because we can use AI instead of enabling the people to say, hey, what are those little things that we can use AI every day to accomplish minutia tasks and then build on that and do those little incremental wins to get to that big ultimate win, right? And where all your people are enabled. Love to hear your thoughts on that a little bit.
Yeah, there are lots of different parts to it. So I think one of the first, if there's a spectrum of AI maturity, one of the first things is identifying those quick wins, those small minutia tasks like you were talking about that I do really feel like bogs people down. Everyone has a work life and a personal home life. And
Sure.
we have kind of that mental burden across the board of, gosh, I just got 15 emails. I went to the bathroom and now I'm back and I have all these tasks I have to do. Plus I
Yeah.
have to pick my kids up from school and I have to make dinner and then all of these other things. And so one of the first ways that I think AI can really enable people and help organizations is to drive value through some of that low hanging fruit, some of those
Sure.
easier, smaller minutia tasks where we don't necessarily need to retrofit the workflow into AI. We are going to infuse it here and it's going to help you work smarter. So I think some of those things include like large scale organizational meetings, right? And there's lots of steps that go into that. So if you think about it from a communication standpoint, someone needs to identify what the agenda is, who are the attendees,
Sure.
send out the
Yep.
calendar invite, maybe send a email ahead of time like, hey, we're excited about all of this. All of those are mini tasks that need to get done, but the
Yep.
leader is really thinking about what's the message that I'm trying to send. And so imagine a world where that leader, she can pull everyone together, she can pull her leadership team together, say, this is my vision. I want Andy, I want you to talk about this. Daniel, I want you to talk about this. Sally, I want you to talk about this, etc. And then they can go take that talk track from the transcript or from the recording, really take the time to think through that, create their agenda, maybe use AI to expand upon that, transform that into a presentation, and then you deliver the meeting, it goes great. The leader really should have a follow-up message that repeats that. Thanks everyone for being there, building trust with
Sure.
their organization through that follow up message. Those things can take time and they are kind of a burden and drag down a leader. With AI, with something like Microsoft Copilot, if you're recording it, you can take that transcript, have a dialogue with Copilot around, I want to send a message, I want to highlight these things, help me craft that,
Sure.
pull together a draft. And so that helps the leader get closer to that end goal a lot faster. And having a wrapper around all of this takes some of those little things that maybe not everyone's thinking about, and helps you get there faster to deliver with more excellence for your people.
Yeah, that's awesome, Margaret. I thank you. I think the other side of it, I think, as I hear you talk, is that barrier to being AI first. I think sometimes we're complicating it too much and making it into this big thing when it actually can be very small and very beneficial. So as we go through this and when you set the framework for what it means to be an AI first company, how do you and your people at Valorem Modern Work really go about say, hey, I'm listening to this, I get it, I love it. How do I get engaged? How do I work through this? How can a partner like Valorem Modern Work help us do this?
Well, I think in a lot of ways, acceptance is the first step. So, acceptance that you want to be an
Yeah,
AI
yeah,
first
yep,
organization, and that maybe it's okay to say, as a leader, hey, I want AI. I want to do it well. I want to do it strategically. I don't know everything about AI. So that's where you need to bring in a strategic partner to help you through that. And our approach really is about being that partner. We never want to design something that makes an organization so dependent on us that if we were to
mm,
exit the organization, they would just fail, right? We really want to
sure,
think about empowering and enabling the organizations we work with. And so we would take them on kind of a roadmap or a journey. And ideally, it's something that is organizations are committing to the roadmap of transformation, that it's not just one meeting where they talk to me and they're like, great, Margaret said that we're an AI first and we're just
yeah.
going to go and do that.
Here's
It's
your
not.
tag. Here,
Yeah,
right
yeah,
there on it.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. And it's really, there are a lot of pieces to the puzzle. So there's first that overall definition of the strategy, kind of building the nervous system around AI. Who are we as an organization? What is our North Star? Why are we using AI? Kind of defining that overall strategy and then starting by communicating that out to the people. Now, one thing that's important with communicating it out is not freaking everyone out. So there is a
yes,
feeling
yeah,
in the workspace that AI is the ultimate goal of AI is to replace people. In my less cynical part of myself, I really
yep,
believe that most organizations don't want to just have an organization made up of AI. They really want to have people that are empowered and enabled by
Yeah.
that. And so communicating that out and then bringing in thought leadership and experts around that governance. And that's one place where we can help, really identifying what are your use cases, who are your people, what is your organization, and then what does your data look like? What's your single source of truth? That's one of the reasons why I really like working with Microsoft products because it is a whole ecosystem and it
Yes,
all works
absolutely.
really well together. And so where I've seen some organizations make some missteps is saying, I have AI over here, I have AI over here, I have AI over here, and not having a cohesive strategy and not having like a central nervous system and governance and single source of truth. And that's where I think
Yeah.
leveraging Microsoft tools as that ecosystem is a really powerful enabler.
Yeah, I mean, AI is a complicated thing, and we've seen over the past year and two how many tools have come out. And so I love your analogy of that Microsoft ecosystem or just having an ecosystem in general, because how many times through the years of digital transformation and everything that we've done, it just creates this huge sprawl. And then you're in like, okay, now I've got a new problem on how to manage all of that. And so I think keeping it simple and saying, hey, how do we go into a structure that is very controlled, governed, we can manage it, our data is not going to get out, how do we do that? And then as you find these specialty tools, now that you have that muscle memory of how to do it, bringing those external tools in to accelerate through Copilot Studio or Foundry, whatever have you. So that's a great insight. I think the other thing, I've had the honor of working with some of your people, and I think the biggest thing that I have seen as a proponent to helping companies become AI first is your adoption change management team and how well they are able to come into an organization and be those change champions. And not only that, but as you talked about, you don't want to be that firm that goes in and essentially creates a vacuum when you leave. And
Mhm.
so I would also say I would love to hear your thoughts on how you guys view adoption change management almost as important, if not more important, than the actual AI implementation as it is.
Yeah, I'm absolutely biased because I do think that people enablement, adoption, change management is the key to success with any digital technology
Sure.
transformation.
Absolutely.
Just because you build an app and you launch it doesn't mean people are going to use it. You could build the greatest, most amazing thing. And if you don't teach people how to use it and tell them the
Yeah.
story around what value it delivers, it's going to be a flop, right? I really think that the people enablement, the adoption change management is the foundational kind of architecture to any AI transformation. It really ensures that you're bringing your people along, alongside the technology. And without it, you're simply buying something that
Yeah.
has no real value for you. And so,
Yeah.
thinking one of the things that our adoption change management team does is goes in and really understands and starts with discovery. So starts with
Mhm.
conversations, starts with whiteboarding exercises, starts with a listening campaign, focus groups, talks to leaders, talks to managers, talks to boots on the ground, does surveys, collects all sorts of data to really understand here are the values that your organization has at the highest level, and then this is how it's being transformed and translated to people who are, on your front line, right?
Absolutely.
And then
Absolutely.
taking them along on that journey, helping them understand what does AI mean for them. Oftentimes we like to start with Copilot chat. So that's
Mhm.
the free version of Copilot, thinking about getting people comfortable with using the user interface for AI. I do feel like out on the marketplace, a lot of people are using ChatGPT. In work, we want them to use something that's safe and secure. No shade on ChatGPT.
Sure.
But
Yep.
if we're thinking about that overall ecosystem, that's where Copilot comes in. And so we might need to do a little bit of an internal marketing influence campaign to get them to stop using some of the other tools and use the organizational recommended tool, and then really
Yeah.
taking them on that. So regular training, um, literacy programs. I think a lot of people have been trained inherently to think about finding information or searching for something through keywords. And now
Mm,
that we have AI, it really is about natural language. And while we
yeah.
talk in natural language, when we interact with the computer, it's really more
Mm,
focused on keywords. And so, really helping people to think critically in the age of AI and taking that skill set and infusing it into the next level. So then maybe the next level is M365 Copilot, using
yeah.
all of the information and data in your graph, helping Copilot learn who you are and how you work. And then the next level is agents and interacting with agents or thinking about an agent first perspective. Gosh, in my job, I have to write 50 reports a month. These are the things I don't like. Great. So you can
Mhm.
work with us. We can identify that problem. We can create a custom agent that works for you and help solve that problem and create more momentum in the organization.
I love that. It is funny because as you mentioned, just how we talk to it, right, is our culture has been built on this text message, acronym, simple Google searches, whatever. And so we're accustomed to this like shorthand language
Yeah.
to now you're in this ecosystem of AI and copilots that you have to change your method as if you're talking to another human person,
Yeah.
Android, whatever you want to call it. And so, yeah, that transformation is pretty big because I think the insights that you get out of that are heavily restricted when you're not talking to it in a formal way, right? So,
But laddering up on that, oftentimes in people to people conversations, there's context and memory that
yep,
is there, right? And so you've built a rapport, you have a relationship with a person. And if you say, you know what I mean? The other
mm,
person probably does because they're filling in the gaps.
yep,
But one of
yep,
the differences now is we need to teach people how to fill in the gaps
yep,
themselves with their
yep,
language that they're using. I say all the time, like, words matter. And
yep,
if you if you say to AI, I need something on XYZ and you really mean CDE, then
yeah,
like, it's going to take your words for what they are. Um,
absolutely.
yeah. So
Who
it's
knows? Maybe we'll get an added benefit out of this that it actually makes us all better communicators as humans
maybe
as we talk to.
I think that's the goal. If honestly, while you were talking, it reminded me of, they teach math differently now, right? Like,
Yeah,
they changed math. And so how they're teaching math in elementary schools and middle schools and high schools, part of that journey is explaining how you got to the answer.
yes,
So, it might not just be 2 + 2 is 4, and explaining how you got there is like, well, 2 + 2 is 4. You need to
yeah,
really foundationally show that you understand that. And the same
exactly.
is true when we're thinking about natural language processing, around making sure that the things that you're saying are really clear, really concise. If you're giving directions to Copilot or an agent, you need to be really thoughtful about each of the steps that you're asking it to take.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, Margaret, it's been an absolute pleasure talking through how to kind of reframe our thinking about what it means to be AA first. So, if you were to kind of summarize up your two-sentence pitch to the audience on how to summarize what we talked about today, what would be your kind of send off?
Well, first, I'd use Copilot to summarize because I don't have time for that.
I
No,
love that.
just kidding. But if I were to summarize what we talked about today, I would say that being an AI first organization might be your goal, but it's not a moment in time. It needs to be a continuous process and it needs to start first with strategy, vision, identifying kind of a central nervous system for your AI, and then making sure you're taking people along for the journey. And ultimately, you probably can't do that by yourself. You want to bring in experts, and you know who's the most expert of experts? Valorem Modern Work.
I love it. I love it. Well, thanks again, Margaret. And this was an absolute pleasure today talking to you and learning about all this stuff. And I hope to foresee much more work coming your way. And I love seeing your guys' thought leadership out in places like LinkedIn and in conferences and stuff. So I would encourage everybody to give Valor Modern Work a follow and see what they're doing in the industry. And if you have any questions, Margaret's always there to reach out. I promise it's a human, not a co-pilot responding back. So thank you again and look forward to future talks down the road.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you.